Osama Sentai King-Ohger is the 47th Super Sentai series, and even just visually, it manages to stand out from past series through its use of LED volume screens for its fantastical world, and I think these are neat. It gives the season an imaginative edge to its world, which has helped that each kingdom has such a distinct visual style and cultures we explore. Speaking of kings, it's quite interesting that Super Sentai, a series focused on teamwork and unity, would choose kings as a motif. Monarchs are infamous for being greedy and corrupt, but oddly, that contradictory nature of these two motifs enhances the show's usual lessons in my opinion. By showing an idealized world where leaders of the monarchy with big egos can put aside their differences to come together for the betterment of mankind, King-Ohger uses the contradictory nature of its existence to its advantage in order to further emphasize the human element of the conflict. This is helped as our protagonists constantly interact with the kingdom's citizens, and those citizens even help pilot the mecha at one point. As for the super squad of this series, we have our Red Ranger Gira, the self-proclaimed evil king who will take over the world to protect his people. Gira has been villainized all his life, from being wiped out from the royal family records, to pretending to be an evil king when playing with children from the orphanage, to being branded as a traitor after his first battle with his brother Racules. If Racules' so-called justice is gonna harm the world, then Gira will become the evilest king in order to stop him. I really love Gira. He has a lot of bravado to him, especially with his grand evil king speeches, which is a concept I love. Having a protagonist playing the heel in defiance of the false justice of our big bad is a dynamic I'm a sucker for, but what I love even more about the evil king bit is that Gira can't keep it consistent. The evil king shtick is just a persona he puts on to hide his wide-eyed, courageous nature with intimidation and threats. I always find myself inspired by these protagonists, who take a stand on what they believe in no matter the perceptions they may receive, and Gira is a great example of that. It also helps that in the first few episodes, Gira meets the other members of his team and their cultures and quickly learns about the kingdoms he'll be saving, something his rival Racules refuses to do. Racules is the first king of Shogadam in the series. He's a manipulative tyrant who boasts about how he's a kind ruler of justice, but actually uses his subjects as mere tools for his goals rather than caring about the people and their well-being first and foremost, like a real king should. While simple, the execution of his plotlines make him a great love-to-hate antagonist, who has some truly legendary battles and interactions with Gira. He's arguably, and unfortunately, the most realistic king in the cast, while the other main characters are more fantastical in their depictions of kinghood. Speaking of the other main characters, the Blue Ranger is Yanma, who runs a kingdom focused on technology. He may be an arrogant punk with wannabe cool bad manners and catchphrases, but he actually views his people as friends to hang out and work together with rather than mere subjects, which makes him one of the more likable characters in my eyes. The Yellow Ranger is Himeno, who runs a kingdom focused on art and medicine. While she may be the most stereotypical pretty princess rich girl of all the King-Ohgers, seeming quite selfish and demanding of her people on the surface, her kindness shines through when the time calls for it. The Purple Ranger is Rita, who runs a kingdom focused on ice-cold law procedural. They are firm and serious in making sure the best possible verdict for prosecuting the guilty happens. They are also a massive dweeb, and I say that lovingly. When stuff isn't going the right way, they scream and are a huge closeted fan of the Mofon cartoons Himeno's kingdom produces, and often talk to plushies from the show to motivate themselves. Rita's antics manage to be super cool, yet charmingly dorky, which is why I declared her my favorite character in King-Ohger. To round off the core 5 King-Ohgers, we have the Black Ranger Kaguragi, who runs a kingdom all about agriculture and food. He's a goofy and peaceful guy on the surface, but man is playing 4D chess with the amount of double-crossing he does on both sides to achieve his goals. Though ultimately, he does the right thing and joins up with the other 4 kings. As for the 6th Ranger, Jeremy, strap in folks, this character is a wild ride of concepts. So we actually hear Jeremy in the first episode of the show. He is the narrator, which plays into his character as a storyteller, telling people to read between the subtle lines and dig deep into his words. This trait backfires on him, as he was tasked with writing the King-Ohger legend, but was so up his own ass in terms of writing it that when published, it made the Bugnarok seem more of a threat than intended, which re-sparked the war between them and humans. This isn't the best of moves, not just for the world, but for Jeremy, as he is part Bugnarok, being the son of an affair of the original 6th King-Ohger and a Bugnarok, which caused the 6th Ranger to be removed from the history books to preserve the pure and heroic image of the King-Ohgers. Jeremy wants peace between the humans and Bugnarok, but due to his lack of experience socializing with others, his methods inadvertently hurt them. I find Jeremy to be a great addition to this show. I love his pretentious writing dialogue as the resonant storyteller of the cast, and how they explore the impact his stories and actions have, even if he didn't intend that. Overall, I'm really liking Osama Sentai King-Ohger. It's fast-paced, but still has room for quality character interactions between big personalities, which is one of my favorite aspects of Sentai Sentai, and King-Ohger excels at that. Not to mention, the usual Sentai messages of teamwork are possibly the strongest they've ever been to me, especially in episode 25 where we see various people from all over the world uniting to pilot a mech for a common goal. The fact that the Monarchy Sentai was able to accomplish that is quite surprising but very impressive. Now what if I told you all of what I said mainly applies to the first half of the show? That's right, King-Ohger's getting a mid-season shakeup and it's set to be one of the bigger ones in Sentai history as it's a time skip mid-show. We'll see how it turns out soon. I'm definitely making a second video when the second half finishes, but let it be known that the first half of King-Ohger is indeed Kino.